Forget walking. Yeah, I said it. If you think walking alone is going to save your muscles as you age, you're in for a rude awakening. Now, don't get me wrong, walking is great. It's relaxing, it gets your blood flowing, it helps your heart, it clears your mind. But when it comes to fighting one of the most dangerous conditions that almost nobody talks about, sarcopenia, walking isn't enough. Sarcopenia is that sneaky process where your muscles just start shrinking and weakening as you get older. And here's the scary part. It doesn't just make you weaker. It makes everything in your life harder. Climbing stairs, carrying groceries, even just standing up from a chair, it all becomes a challenge if you let sarcopenia take over. And the research is clear. Once you lose that muscle, it becomes harder and harder to get it back. But here's the good news, and the reason I told you to forget about walking. There are 2 simple exercises you can do right at home, no fancy equipment needed. And they are absolute game changers when it comes to building muscle and shutting down sarcopenia before it shuts you down. So if you stick with me today, I'm not just going to tell you what they are. I'm going to walk you through how to do them, how often to do them, and how to make them work for you, whether you're a complete beginner or you've been exercising for years. Let me start with a quick story because this will hit home for a lot of people watching. I had a friend's father in his late 60s who believed walking every morning was all the exercise he needed. He was disciplined. He never missed his routine. But when he slipped one day and tried to catch himself, his legs weren't strong enough. His arms couldn't stabilize him. And he ended up with a nasty hip fracture. And that's when it hit me. Walking didn't fail him, but it didn't protect him either. What he really needed was muscle strength. That's what prevents falls. That's what keeps your bones strong. That's what allows you to keep living life on your terms instead of relying on someone else to help you out of a chair. That's what we're after today. Let's break it down. Sarcopenia typically starts creeping in as early as your 30s. Yes, 30s. You might not feel it yet, but little by little, year after year, you're losing muscle if you're not actively building it. By the time you're 60, 70, or 80, the difference between someone who trained their muscles and someone who didn't is night and day. One is vibrant, independent, energetic. The other struggles with basic daily tasks. Which one do you want to be? I promised you 2 exercises that can completely change the game. The first one is the squat. And before you roll your eyes and think, oh no, not squats, those are too hard, hear me out. Squats are one of the most natural, functional movements we do as humans. Every time you sit down and stand up, that's a squat. Every time you get out of your car, that's a squat. The problem is, most of us lose that ability as we age because we stop practicing it. And the less you use it, the more those muscles disappear. The squat targets your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings, your core. Basically all the powerhouse muscles that keep you mobile. You don't need weights to start. Just your body. You stand with your feet about shoulder, width apart. Keep your chest tall. And imagine you're sitting back into a chair. Go as low as you can comfortably, then push through your heels to come back up. That's it. Simple, but powerful. If a basic squat feels too tough, start by holding onto a chair or countertop for support. If a full squat is easy for you, try slowing it down or pausing at the bottom or eventually adding some resistance. That's how you keep progressing and building real strength. The second exercise, and I love this one because it's so underrated, is the push-up. And before you panic, no, you don't need to drop to the floor and do Navy SEAL style push-ups on day one. Push-ups can be modified for absolutely everyone. You can start against a wall, then move to a countertop, then to your knees, and eventually to full push-ups on the floor if you want. The push-up is incredible because it doesn't just work your chest and arms, it strengthens your shoulders, your triceps, your core, even your posture muscles. And here's why that matters for sarcopenia. Upper body strength is one of the first things we tend to lose as we age. And it's exactly what you need to carry bags, to push yourself up if you fall, to open doors, to literally keep functioning in everyday life. 2 exercises. Squats for the lower body. Push-ups for the upper body. That's the secret. And I know what some of you are thinking right now. Can 2 exercises really be enough? And my answer is yes. If you do them consistently and you push yourself to get better over time, think about it. The squat and the push-up are compound movements, meaning they hit multiple muscle groups at once. They give you the most bang for your buck. If you're sitting at home with no equipment, no gym membership, and maybe not a lot of free time, why complicate it? Why waste hours on little isolation moves when you can do the basics that your body actually needs? Let's talk about how often you should do them. You don't need to train like a bodybuilder. Start with just 2 to 3 sessions a week. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Do a few sets of squats, a few sets of push-ups, rest in between, and you're done in under 20 minutes. If you're a complete beginner, even 1 set of each is progress. Over time, aim for 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. If that becomes easy, increase the difficulty by slowing down the movement, holding the position, or doing more reps. Progression is the key. Your muscles only grow if you challenge them. And let's get real for a second. Most people fail at exercise not because the exercises don't work, but because they don't stay consistent. They either get overwhelmed with too complicated routines, or they expect instant results and quit too soon. I don't want that for you. That's why I'm keeping it simple. 2 exercises, easy to remember, easy to do anywhere, no excuses. And if you're consistent, I promise you, your future self will thank you. Here's something else to think about. Muscle isn't just about strength. It's about longevity. The more muscle mass you maintain, the better your metabolism, the better your insulin sensitivity, the lower your risk of falls, fractures, and disability. In fact, studies show that muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of how long you'll live and how healthy that life will be. That's huge. So when I tell you that squats and push-ups can literally save your life, I'm not exaggerating. Let me make this even more practical. Imagine you're watching this right now sitting on your couch. Pause the video, stand up, and do 5 squats. Just 5. Then come back. Did you feel your legs working? That's your body reminding you those muscles are still there, waiting to be trained. Next, place your hands on the wall, step your feet back a little, and do 5 wall push-ups. Feel that? That's your chest, shoulders, arms, all waking up. You just did both of the exercises I've been talking about right now in your living room. That's how easy it can be to start. And let me tell you something important. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Don't worry about doing 50 squats today or perfect military push-ups tomorrow. Worry about showing up again and again, because the magic is in repetition. Every time you squat, you're teaching your body, hey, we're still strong, we're still capable. Every time you push, you're telling your body, we still need this muscle. And your body listens. It adapts. It builds. That's how you fight sarcopenia. Let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you might say, I'm too old for this, or I have bad knees, bad shoulders. And I hear you, but here's the truth. The worst thing you can do is nothing. Motion is lotion for your joints. And there's always a version of these exercises that will work for you. If squats hurt, try sit to stands from a chair. If push-ups hurt, stick to the wall version. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. Your body doesn't care if you're doing Instagram-worthy workouts. It cares that you're using your muscles regularly. Think about this. What's scarier? Spending 10 minutes a day doing some modified squats and push-ups, or facing 10 years of struggling to walk, climb stairs, or live independently? That's the trade-off. 10 minutes a day now buys you decades of strength later. And if you're still not convinced, let me share this. Researchers have found that strength training, even just twice a week, can not only stop muscle loss, but actually reverse sarcopenia in older adults. That means it's never too late to start. Even if you've lost a lot of strength already, your body can rebuild it. I've seen people in their 70s and 80s make incredible transformations just by sticking with basic strength exercises. And if they can do it, so can you. Here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, commit to doing squats and push-ups at least 3 times a week. Write it down, set a reminder, make it part of your routine. I don't care if you're doing 5 reps or 50, just do it consistently. And then, after 30 days, notice how you feel. Notice how getting up from the floor is easier, how carrying groceries feels lighter, how your energy levels improve. That's the power of fighting sarcopenia with strength. And look, I'm not saying stop walking. Walking is still great for your heart, your mood, and your daily activity. Keep doing it. But don't make the mistake of thinking walking alone is enough to save your muscles, because it's not. If you really want to age strong, live long, and stay independent, you need resistance, you need strength, and you can get that with nothing more than your own body weight and a little bit of consistency. So don't overthink it. Start today. Forget walking. Well, not completely, but forget relying on walking alone. Add these 2 home exercises, squats and push-ups, and you will be amazed at how much stronger, healthier, and more confident you feel. Sarcopenia doesn't have to win. You have the tools, you have the knowledge, and now you have no excuses. And here's something most people don't realize. Short, regular strength sessions are far more effective than those long, occasional workouts you might be tempted to do. It's not about crushing yourself once a week in some marathon gym session. Your muscles respond best to consistency. Little nudges repeated again and again. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't brush once for 2 hours on Sunday and then forget about it all week. You brush for a few minutes every day, and that's what keeps your teeth healthy. Muscles work the same way. A few focused minutes, done regularly, builds far more strength and resilience than sporadic, exhausting efforts. The body loves routine. Every time you give it that small, repeated signal that muscle is needed, protein synthesis kicks in. Your body goes, oh, we need to maintain this strength. We need to build up those fibers. But when you ignore training for days or weeks and then suddenly overdo it, your body doesn't get that consistent message. Instead, you end up sore, tired, and often discouraged. And let's be honest, most people don't stick to something that leaves them sore and exhausted for days. But if you just give yourself 10 or 15 minutes a few times a week, you create a habit. you can actually stick to long term. And that long term is everything, because sarcopenia doesn't strike overnight. It's a slow process. But that's why small, consistent habits win. You're essentially telling your body day after day, we're not going down without a fight. That message compounds over years, and that's what keeps you stronger at 60, 70, 80, and beyond. Here's something else that's important. Muscle is not just about moving weights or looking toned. It's about your metabolism. Muscles are active tissue. The more you have, the more calories you burn even at rest. You could literally be sitting on the couch and burning more just because you've built up some lean muscle mass. That's why people who do resistance training often find it easier to manage their weight. And it goes beyond calories. More muscle improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your body handles blood sugar better, lowering your risk of type 2 diabetes. So every push up and every squat you do isn't just fighting weakness, it's protecting you against diseases that rob people of their health as they age. And speaking of protection, let's talk bones. Most people think of osteoporosis as a separate issue from sarcopenia, but they're deeply connected. Your muscles pull on your bones every time you move, and that stress signals your bones to stay strong. Without that stress, bones weaken. That's why resistance training doesn't just fight muscle loss, it also fights bone loss. 2 for 1. When you do squats, you're not just training your legs, you're strengthening the bones in your hips and spine. When you do push-ups, you're loading your arms, shoulders, and wrists in a way that helps preserve bone density. That's priceless as you age, because fractures from weak bones are one of the biggest reasons people lose their independence. Now, here's a detail many people overlook. Walking is fantastic for your heart, but it doesn't give that load your muscles, and bones need to grow. Think about it when you walk. Your body is used to that motion. It doesn't demand more than a minimal effort. There's no progressive challenge. You could walk the same route for years and your muscles wouldn't really change. That's why resistance training is the missing piece. Squats and push-ups provide progressive resistance that forces your body to adapt, grow, and maintain strength. And the beauty of these movements is that they're functional. Squats make you better at standing, sitting, bending, lifting. Push-ups make you better at pushing open a door, carrying groceries, supporting yourself if you stumble. They're not abstract exercises, they're direct training for real life. Now, some of you might still wonder if such simple moves can really cover all the bases. Let's think about what happens inside your body. When you squat, your quads, hamstrings, and glutes are firing, but so is your core to stabilize you, your calves to support balance, even your lower back to keep posture. That's a full lower body workout in one movement. When you push up, you're not only working chest and triceps, but also shoulders, abs, and back muscles that prevent you from sagging. You're getting way more bang for your buck than you realize. And here's something fascinating. Research shows that strength training doesn't just improve muscles and bones, it improves coordination and balance. Every rep you do is training your nervous system to fire more efficiently, to stabilize you better, to react quicker if you start to fall. That's why people who train with resistance have fewer falls and recover more quickly when accidents happen. Balance is one of those hidden keys to independence. You don't notice it when you're young, but as you get older, balance can fade. Suddenly, walking on uneven ground feels risky, but squats and push push-ups secretly build those stabilizing muscles and nervous system connections that keep you upright and confident. That's why these two moves are more than just muscle builders. They're safety drills for life. And let's not forget about posture. So many of us spend hours hunched over screens, rounding our shoulders, weakening our core. Push-ups are an antidote to that. Done correctly, they open up your chest, strengthen your upper back, and remind your body how to stand tall again. Squats, with their demand for a strong, upright torso, reinforce that posture from the ground up. Over time, you not only feel stronger, you look more confident just because your body alignment improves. Now, let's zoom in on something practical. People often ask, how many should I do? And my answer is, start small. Even 2 or 3 reps is progress if that's all you can manage today. Then add more gradually. What matters most is not the number, it's the habit. Think of your sessions like deposits in a bank account. Every time you squat or push, you're adding to your strength savings. Over time, those deposits grow into a massive reserve of independence and vitality. Skip too many deposits, and the account runs dry. And here's a tip. Pair your strength sessions with daily cues you already do. For example, every time you make coffee in the morning, do 10 squats while it brews. Before brushing your teeth at night, knock out a set of wall push-ups. Attach the exercises to habits you already have, and suddenly they're effortless to remember. That's how you turn consistency into second nature. What's amazing is how quickly the benefits show up. Within weeks of doing these short, regular sessions, you'll notice daily tasks feel easier. Climbing stairs won't leave you as winded. Getting up from the floor won't feel like a struggle. Even your energy levels rise because your body thrives when muscles are engaged. And this happens without needing to dedicate hours in a gym. Just a few minutes here and there, regularly repeated, gives you that momentum. Here's another overlooked benefit: mental health. Resistance training has been shown to reduce anxiety and depression, boost mood, and even sharpen cognitive function. Think about it. Every time you challenge your muscles, your brain is engaged in coordinating, stabilizing, focusing. That's like exercise for your nervous system too. Plus, the confidence that comes from feeling physically capable spills over into every area of life. You start to believe in your own strength, literally and figuratively. Now, I know some people still cling to the idea that cardio alone is enough. And again, cardio has its place. It strengthens your heart and lungs. But when it comes to longevity, strength is the real secret weapon. In fact, studies have found that grip strength alone is a surprisingly strong predictor of mortality. Grip strength, that tells you how closely muscle strength is tied to survival. And guess what? Push-ups train grip, forearms, and hand stability indirectly by demanding control. Squats train grip if you hold onto something for balance. Every time you engage your muscles in resistance, you're improving that hidden predictor of long life. Now, think about falls, one of the biggest dangers in older age. Most falls happen because of weak legs or poor balance. But if your legs are strong from squats, you're less likely to stumble in the first place. And if your upper body is strong from push-ups, you're more likely to catch yourself if you do. That can literally be the difference between walking away and breaking a hip. And a broken hip is no small thing. It often triggers a downward spiral of hospital stays, immobility, and dependence. Strength training cuts that wrist dramatically. And here's the kicker. It doesn't matter where you start. People in their 70s, 80s, even 90s have shown improvements with simple bodyweight training. The human body is incredibly adaptable. It wants to survive. It wants to stay strong. All you have to do is give it the signal. Don't underestimate yourself. Even if you feel weak now, that's just your starting point, not your limit. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how short these sessions can be. Imagine this. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Do a set of squats, rest for 30 seconds, then do a set of push-ups. Repeat until the timer goes off. That's it. 10 minutes and you've given your body a full body strength session. Now compare that to the person who drags themselves to the gym once a week, spends an hour trying to do everything, gets sore, then doesn't go back for another 7 days. Who do you think gets stronger? The one doing 10 minutes consistently, every time. The frequency matters more than the duration because your muscles grow in response to repeated signals. That's the principle of progressive overload. You don't need to lift crazy weights or do insane numbers. You just need to gradually increase the challenge over time. Add a rep here, pause a little longer there, or move from the wall push up to the counter push up. Small steps consistently applied equal massive results over years. And don't forget, this consistency keeps your joints healthier too. People often think rest is best for joint pain, but it's actually controlled movement that keeps joints lubricated and muscles around them strong. When you do squats, you're strengthening the muscles around your knees and hips, which takes pressure off the joints. When you do push-ups, you're supporting your shoulders and wrists, making them more resilient. It's about building a body that supports itself better. And here's where it gets really fascinating. A lot of people think you need heavy weights and hours of gym time to really make a difference. But the science says otherwise. Even light resistance training, the kind you can do right at home with your body weight, or maybe a small household item, sends a powerful signal to your body. That signal tells your muscles to keep building, to keep repairing, to keep synthesizing protein instead of breaking it down. And that's huge because at the core of sarcopenia is this imbalance between muscle breakdown and muscle building. As we age, our bodies naturally tilt toward breaking down muscle faster than we build it. But the moment you give your body even a small resistance challenge, you flip that switch. Suddenly your body says, wait, we still need this muscle. We'd better hold on to it. We'd better build some more. That's why even light training is so effective. Protein synthesis is like the construction crew inside your body. Imagine your muscles as a house that's constantly being repaired and remodeled. Without resistance training, the demolition team works overtime, tearing things down while the construction crew is understaffed and slow. Over time, the house gets smaller, weaker, and less functional. But the moment you add resistance training, even light resistance, it's like hiring more workers and giving them better tools. Suddenly repairs get done faster, walls are reinforced, rooms are added. That's how you rebuild and maintain muscle. And you don't need a barbell loaded with plates to do it. Let's take the squat again. When you do a bodyweight squat, you're moving your own body through space. That may not feel like much compared to someone squatting hundreds of pounds, but your body doesn't care about the number on the bar. It cares about the signal. It cares that the muscles are being challenged beyond their normal daily use. And that challenge activates protein synthesis. Same with push-ups. Even a wall push-up is better than no push-up because you're creating tension. You're giving your body a reason to adapt. What's really exciting is how immediate this process is. The moment you finish a session, protein synthesis spikes for hours. It's like flipping a switch from catabolic hours, breaking down, to anabolic building up. Do that regularly, and you're constantly tipping the balance in your favor, slowing or even reversing the loss of muscle. That's why consistency matters more than intensity. It's not about crushing one massive workout. It's about flipping that switch often, keeping your body in a cycle of repair and growth. And this doesn't just affect your muscles. Because muscle is metabolically active, it affects everything from how your body handles nutrients to how it regulates hormones. When you stimulate protein synthesis, you're not just saving muscle, you're improving your body's overall efficiency. Your insulin sensitivity gets better, your metabolism runs smoother, your energy feels more stable. It's like upgrading your entire operating system, not just one muscle group. Now, let's make this super practical. Say you're someone who struggles with consistency because you think, I don't have time for a long workout. Here's the truth. You don't need long workouts. If you take just 5 minutes to do a handful of squats and push-ups, you've already triggered that protein synthesis response. 5 minutes! That's less time than scrolling through your phone before bed. The key is to keep showing up. Small, repeated doses are enough to keep your muscles in building mode. Think about astronauts. When they go to space and live in zero gravity, they lose muscle rapidly because there's no resistance. To counter that, they don't do marathon gym sessions in space. They do short, consistent resistance routines every single day. That's the proof right there. Light but consistent resistance keeps muscles alive and strong, even in extreme conditions. If it works in space, it'll work in your living room. And here's another important piece. As we get older, our muscles don't respond as strongly to protein in food alone. That means if you're just eating protein, but not exercising, your body won't fully use it to build muscle. But when you pair even light resistance training with good nutrition, suddenly the protein you eat gets directed straight into muscle repair and growth. That's why exercise and diet go hand in hand. One without the other isn't nearly as powerful. So let's say you're doing your wall push-ups. You're not only strengthening your upper body, you're telling your body, hey, send that chicken breast or that lentil soup we ate earlier straight into these muscles. Without the push-ups, that protein might not be used as efficiently. With them, you maximize the benefits. It's like giving your food a job description. Now, let's tackle a common misconception. If I'm not lifting heavy, I'm not really building muscle. Wrong. Studies show that lifting lighter weights to fatigue or doing body weight movements to the point of challenge can build just as much muscle as lifting heavy, especially in beginners or older adults. The principle is effort, not load. Your body doesn't have a built-in scale saying, oh, this is only 10 pounds, so I won't grow. It says, am I being challenged beyond what I'm used to? If yes, then adapt. That's the rule. That's why squats and push-ups, even in their easiest forms, are powerful medicine against sarcopenia. And here's where the beauty of progression comes in. Light resistance might be all you need to start, but your body adapts. That's when you tweak the exercise slightly, go a little deeper in your squat, pause for a few seconds at the bottom, do push-ups against a lower surface instead of a wall. Each small change is enough to keep the signal strong. And as long as that signal is strong, protein synthesis keeps working in your favor. What's amazing is that the benefits extend far beyond muscle size. Protein synthesis, triggered by resistance training, improves your immune system, your recovery from injuries, even your brain function. Muscles release myokines, little messenger molecules that communicate with other organs. When you stimulate your muscles, you're sending positive messages throughout your entire body. That's why people who strength train not only stay stronger, but also stay healthier overall. And let's circle back to sarcopenia. The scary thing about sarcopenia is that it creeps up silently. You don't notice losing 1% of your muscle mass a year, but over a decade, that's 10% gone. Over 2 decades, 20%. That's the difference between living independently and relying on someone else for daily tasks. But every time you engage in resistance training, even light training, you're putting the brakes on that process. You're slowing the loss, and in many cases, you're reversing it. That's the power of a few squats and push-ups done regularly. Another fascinating detail is how resistance training impacts balance and coordination through protein synthesis. When your muscles adapt, your nervous system adapts too. Your brain learns to fire signals more efficiently, to coordinate movement better, to stabilize you when you wobble. That means not only are you building muscle fibers, you're building better communication between brain and body. That's another layer of protection against falls, another way to stay independent longer. And think about how this ties into your daily life. You don't need to be an athlete to benefit. Say you're carrying groceries up the stairs. Stronger legs from squats mean you don't strain as much. Stronger arms and chest from push-ups mean you can hold those bags steady. And because you've been stimulating protein synthesis regularly, your muscles are ready for the task. You're not just training for exercise's sake, you're training for life. What's even more encouraging is that it's never too late to start. Even people in their 70s and 80s who begin resistance training see increases in protein synthesis and actual muscle growth. Their bodies respond, maybe not as quickly as in youth, but they respond. That means wherever you are, whatever age, you have the power to fight back against muscle loss. I've seen people who could barely stand from a chair progress to doing full sets of squats just by committing to light, regular training. And every improvement wasn't just a stronger leg. It was more confidence, more independence, more freedom. That's the real prize. So the next time you think a short session doesn't matter, remember what's happening at the cellular level. Remember that even 5 minutes of squats and push-ups is flipping that anabolic switch, telling your body to build instead of break down, protecting your independence, your health, your future.